I don't know why my video is not working, but that's all right. You got my voice and my energy. You can feel it through the whatever, right? Because you guys can't see me, right?
No.
No.
What the heck? I don't get it. That's all good. Anyways, so take notes. I think everybody already knows, keep your mic muted unless you're going to speak. And then I always recommend that people do type a message or a question in the chat, and I'll kind of keep an eye on that too if you have a question based on what somebody said. So Nick, let's just start it right off and tell us a little bit about you and how your business is going.
Sure. Yeah. So I've been licensed since December of 2016. So I got in right at the tail end of 2016. My coach was Meg Highland at the time. And she just told me the first day, call everybody in your phone book, message everybody you know on Facebook. Everybody you know needs to know that you're in real estate. And at the time, it seemed a little bit mundane. Everybody I was talking to was 22, 23 years old. So like, why am I, talking to these people? I guess I didn't really see the big picture. I wasn't thinking big picture, but where am I going with that? Sold my first house 6 months in the business. It was an open house call. I joined Pete and Karen Collins, June of 2017, sold 11 houses in 2017, 21 houses 2018, 24 houses in 2019. This year, I would like to sell 30 houses. So,
woo!
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Did I answer your question totally?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, while we're waiting for the others, Peter, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and your business? We'll add you in there as well. Peter? Marco?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I was on another page. So, yeah, I mean, it's like what Gary's been saying, Jay, we just got to stick with the basics and stick with what works. And then I liked what Cody Gibson was saying this morning, and just continue to talk to people and give them value. Do not call and ask for business. Mm-hmm. It's a poor time to do that. You're going to ruin some relationships. I thought that was pretty good. Not saying that you're not going to get business. You are going to get business, but if you continue to give them value, that goes much further. Cherie's here. All right.
Oh, we see her now.
And what was your other question?
Just a little bit about you and your business, and kind of get a little introduction, but we can kind of move on here. So Nick, we'll come back to you. What prospecting activities do you engage in to find leads? What's your strategy?
So I'm big on the phone. That's where most of my lead generation comes from. Got my headset here for you. For the first 3 years, I was very prospecting heavy. So constantly trying to add new leads to the database, get people to follow up with, get a pipeline filled. I called canceled listings, expired listings, circle prospecting around open houses our team or anybody in the market center would have, as well as doing open houses, talking to people at open houses, following up. And then I do everything I can to stay relevant on social media and talk to people, message people through there, just trying to add value.
Awesome. So I was just told that we have Nate and Jason on the call. So Nate and Jason, just to catch up a little bit, we are just getting started. So Jason, if you are here and unmuted, if you would tell us a little bit about you and your business quickly, and then maybe give us an idea of what you and your team do to engage to find leads.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. So the vast majority of our business really has always been past clients, referrals, friends, and family. So we're really digging deep now to just, make sure that we are a trusted resource for them. We got signed 4 new listings since last week, and all of them are past clients, friends, and relatives. I had a guy I spoke to this morning, supposed to go on the market on Friday. He's just a little bit worried about, people coming through his house, and what do we do about this, and is this going to affect my value? And like I told him, I said, if you would you rather wait 30 or 60 days and wait to see how things play out? And he says, well, no, we really want to get it sold. Like, we still want to move. And so I think what you'll find is that if you actually aren't attached to the outcome, things will be fine. When you're pushing so hard to try and be a salesperson, and you need a deal so bad because you didn't do anything last month or the month before, and so now with the coronavirus, it's just going to catch you like, holy cow, I don't have anything in my pipeline. Then you're going to be pushing people, and then you're going to find them pulling back. And so I tried to talk this guy out of going on the market, because I sincerely don't care, like, whatever is best for him. I mean, if he wants to wait 60 or 90 days and see how things progress, that's fine. And he doesn't. He would like to get on the market by Monday. So.
Okay.
Awesome. Looks like you're coming to us from, is that San Francisco behind you?
Beautiful San Francisco.
I just figured out how to do that on my phone. I'm really just sitting in my house.
Fooled us.
That's what I figured.
I just thought
awesome. Cool.
that
Thanks
looked
for sharing. Nate. My audio is kind of funky. Hey, Nate, why don't we move on to you and have you kind of give us a little idea, a little background of who you are, what your team does, and what's one of your, or a couple of your main strategies to get leads.
Yeah, thanks for having me here. This is my 5th year in the business. I got started before I got in real estate. I worked for a marketing company that sold oil change packages, oil change cards door to door, and I did that for 8.5 years. So I knocked on about 140,000, 145,000 doors before I ever got into real estate, which taught me a lot of skills and just practical sales skills of how to ask questions, mirror and match, and all those things. I got into business, and then our main sources of business right now has been our database, past clients, and referrals from our database and past clients. There is because we do a lot of door knocking, a lot of folks think that's where all our business comes from, but last year, 70% of our closed business for our team was from database, past clients, and referrals. We do circle prospecting. We pick up a fair amount of business there. I do get a fair amount of business online from Twitter as well. But most of our business is database, and then prospecting around our listings and in our farm area.
Awesome. Fantastic. Thanks for sharing. It's cool to see the different types of strategies, because it sounds like Nate really hammered in on the door knocking, which I've used that in the past and have great success. There's definitely different ways to still lead generate, but not spend a lot of money. I mean, if we're talking about budget, right, there's it doesn't cost you anything to go on and knock on a door. I mean, maybe right now, hold on that, or stand 6 feet back. But anyways, let's see, what should we move on to next?
Hey, quick question. Can I interrupt? I just have some messages popping up in our chat.
Okay.
From Corbin. Jason, what are some of your solutions to help sellers find peace of mind in light of the health concerns?
I think it's, as I was listening to a podcast yesterday, this was actually from John Maxwell. It's really not your position about this whole thing, right? There are people that are going to be, freaked out and buying ammunition and bottled water and, stocking up on 10 loaves of bread. And then there are going to be people that are, trying to book the, $79 fares to Hawaii. You're going to have people, like, from a positional standpoint, you're going to have very different views on the entire thing. I think the thing you need to focus on is your disposition. So if you're freaked out and you're anxious and you're worried, then that's going to be very contagious. And so the virus is contagious. So is your attitude. So is the way you carry yourself. So if you focus on your disposition, you may not feel like this is a big deal. And that's okay. Do your best to stay away from people that do think it's a big deal, that don't want to get sick, right? I mean, I think we're all of the same mindset that we want to have this thing, kind of blow over and have it go away. And if that's going to be 2 weeks or 3 months, I think time will tell. The thing you do control is your disposition. So how do you carry yourself? And your job as a leader, in these people's real estate lives, your job is to be a leader. And so if you could detach yourself from the outcome, you'll find that you'll give much better advice. It's not about you. It never was about you. And right now it might be the first time that a lot of people in this industry are going to realize, like, it isn't about you. It never has been, and it never will be. So if you focus on them and what's best for them, you'll be able to give them good advice. So how do you help people not freak out? That's not what the goal is. The goal is to help them and you need to help them be stable. If you're freaked out, then chances are you're going to find other people that will, be with your cause. If you're able to be that voice of reason, if you're there to, kind of help them through it, why do you guys really want to move in the first place? Is now the right time? Whether this is going to be a 2-week or a 4-month deal, we're not in control of that. What you're in control of is your disposition. Your control really is just about how you react to situations like this. And if you're able to be the calm in the storm, I think that people will genuinely be attracted to people like that. If you're freaking out and then wondering why the people around you are freaking out, then, just grab a mirror.
Thank you. And then
Or a Zoom call. You can look in the Zoom call.
and then one more quick question from chats from Paul Olson. Nate, this one might resonate with you. Thoughts on door knocking now?
Well, I'm currently in a quarantine myself. I was in Spain last week and got back late Friday, and have been in quarantine since then. So I'm not door knocking at all right now because I can't. I think I would recommend giving some space on door knocking this week, and maybe next week to kind of see where things go here locally. And I think it's a good time to do, what we kind of talked about, your people who are in your pipeline that are 3 to 6 months out, to call and just check in and see how they're feeling. Same with your database and go from there. But right now, I think it's best to kind of, for door knocking purposes, it's probably best to wait, just because everything is up in the air right now.
Thank you. All right, Sheree, I'll let you take back over.
Cool. Well, that kind of leads us into our next question is, there is a shift in our business right now, right? I think everybody can agree on that. So, Nick, let's bring it to you. How does lead generation need to change during a shift? What are some ideas? And, let's brainstorm together. How can we lead generate during the shift?
Being this is the first shift I'm going through, that's sort of something I am working to figure out right now. But I'm putting all my faith in what the company teaches and what we were talking about earlier. This is the time that we need to double down on our lead generation activities. For me, that's going to mean, instead of lead generating for 1 to 2 hours a day and just doing follow-ups like I've been doing this whole quarter, it needs to be double the contacts. You need to be lead generating for 3 to 4 hours You need to make sure that you're still reaching people. And I really liked what Jason actually said earlier. Don't be attached to the outcome. If you're good to people and you add value, they're going to come back to you. And even if they're not ready now, even if they thought they were ready and they wanted to list this next month and now they want to wait, if you're good to them and you make it about them and not about you, when they are ready, you'll be the one who they call upon.
Right. I can definitely piggyback on that because in my personal business, I listed one home yesterday and I plan to list another one tomorrow. So there are people out there, as you maintain that calm, kind of, again, piggybacking off of what Jason said, if you're not attached to the outcome, if it works for your client, that's what's best, right? Mm-hmm. Jason, how about you? How does your team plan to do a little bit of a lead generation change during this shift? What does that look like for you, for the Gorman team?
So like what we're doing right now, so this time of the year, we're always planning our movie event. So our movie event is in April, which, obviously is going to be canceled. The regular movie event is being canceled. So we're making our call. So what we're doing is we're doing Amazon gift cards, so they can, rent a movie online. We're doing popcorn. So we'll FedEx them popcorn or, mail them popcorn and then send them the Amazon gift card. And then we have a gift certificates for the local movie theater. So if they want, they could obviously, pick those up and go, or, save them and go in, a month or two or whenever. So we're still making the calls to let people know that they can get those, that we're not going to have the live event, but that we are, we're doing it just a little bit different this year. Also, the thing we always do this time of year is we call all of our clients from the prior year. Every single client gets called and just asked, we're sure you're probably preparing your taxes, in addition to the coronavirus, you're going to be doing your taxes, getting your things done from last year. Do you still have a copy of your settlement statement, or do you need another copy? So we do that every single year. And then we'll mail it to them, or, email it to them, or send them a copy. But you're just making sure that you're checking in with them anyway. And then, oh, by the way, do you have any concerns or questions about housing markets, values, or anything like that with regards to the coronavirus? So.
Awesome. Cool. Those are great ways to provide value too, and without having to physically get in contact with somebody. Other strategies I've seen from other agents that I network with is somebody's done virtual appointments, or if you're still thinking about buying, whether it's now or in 3 months, we can meet just like this, right? So let's go to the next question here. So on a side note, Paul also asked, what do we think about open houses?
I can go about that. We didn't open this week on Saturday, and we had 8 groups through, and we had a little bit of miscommunication because we were canceling the Sunday open house, and it accidentally got canceled on Saturday too, but we still had 8 groups through. So, some people offer virtual open houses. I think it depends on how our sellers, what their comfort level feel is. And I would just ask them, how comfortable do you feel doing an open house right now? There's some ways we can mitigate some things. There's some folks who are limiting showings to a couple days a week and then having cleaners come through to clean the place. It really comes down to what is our sellers' comfort level, and going with there and giving them the option that it's okay to not do it. We know that a lot of opens are for lead generation, but also I think being honest with them about that, but also being honest about, they'll sell the house. We've sold a few homes this year because of opens. So I think being just straightforward and asking them, and that's what we did. And some said no and others said yes. So I just think asking. Similar with showings, we're doing FaceTime showings on our team. Lydia and our team is doing some showings today, wearing gloves, keeping 10 feet distance between our client and her. There's ways to make it work and still provide a good experience and make it work. But I think just in terms of asking our clients, I think just asking for permission and being okay with the outcome and if they say no. And obviously, and our team members, if they don't feel comfortable, I don't want them to do it either. So.
I was gonna add the same thing, you know, it is important for us to protect our clients, but also important to protect ourselves as well, because, you know, put yourself in a situation, you know,
There are some other ways to do that, at least for the 2 weeks, you know, the kind of the, everything's kind of shutting down. The next question kind of is all self-answered here a little bit. Tell us about your lead generation and how you protect your time. I think that a lot of us, you know, maybe have a little extra time because you're kind of sequestered. So what better time for people to answer their phones, actually phone calls? Nick, how do you, what's one of your strategies to protect your lead generation?
I've got on my calendar every morning from 9 to noon. It actually says on my Google Calendar, get on the damn phone. And I close the door. I get ready by getting a full glass of water, and we have some provisions in our office, but I keep the door closed. And before I do anything else, I'm on the phone, whether that's calling expireds, canceled, following up from open house leads, anything like that. The first part of my day, 9 to noon, is focusing on getting new business, and then the second part of my day is focusing on the business that I'm currently servicing. Is how, and it's not always perfect. I mean, it's not, you know, 9 to noon totally structured. I'm always in there. It's like that most days. Sometimes things come up and you have to address something. You might have to leave the room for some reason, but I really try to make my mornings about lead generation.
Nick, to follow up with that,
that 3
what?
hours too. I always remember you always being in the office, getting stuff done for that 3 hours. So that's fantastic and great example to other agents that like it can be done, right?
Mhm.
Heather, did you have something?
Cherie, you have a really bad connection.
Nick, do you have anything to say, especially for new agents who might be scared to get on the phone and call? What do you have to say to people who maybe have a more quiet and shy personality?
You know, script practice is important. You hear that in bold and everything. It's when you're script practicing and when you're talking to people on the phone, I think that a mistake that a lot of people make is they're way too focused on the words that they're saying and not how they say it. If you are unsure of yourself and you're shy and you know, you're scared of somebody coming down on you on the phone or in person or anything, they're going to hear that in your voice. And I think a good way to combat that is that you have to remind yourself that you're calling these people because they have a problem that you can help them with. You're not calling them to sell them some luxury cruise or, you know, something that they don't necessarily need right now. These people have a problem, especially if you're calling expireds or canceleds or even open house leads that may be looking to purchase. They have something that you can deliver with your service. And it's not what you say to them, it's how you say it. If you speak with conviction on the phone or in person, you know, they're going to feel that energy and they're going to feel that much more comfortable talking to you. So when you're script practicing or practicing what you're going to say to people, yes, you want to focus on what you're saying. You want to say mostly the correct thing, but focus more on how you're saying it and not necessarily as much the words that you're saying would be my advice. Did everybody hear that? Okay. I thought I was muted for a second.
In and out. See. Brooke asked, let's wait for this one. Everyone talking about doubling down on lead gen right now. What are the specific things that we can provide to lead gen in this current state?
Doubling down on lead gen.
Question off to Nate.
I mean, I think right now, I actually kind of told our agents and myself that for this week to kind of give yourself some grace on lead gen, to maybe take, instead of hitting that there's a certain number that you're trying to do, it's okay to take a step back on that right now to try to give yourself some grace as we're working through this. This is unprecedented experience that all of us are going through. So it's okay if you hit 40 contacts versus the 80 that you're trying to do. In terms of contacting our database and doubling down, I would just say call and just check and see how they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
How you do mentally right now, I don't know about you guys, but there's some hours that I get pretty dark, and I've had a few cries because this is intense. So I think checking in with your people and your people you care about in your database, and to see, hey, how are you doing mentally? How are you doing physically? Is there things that you need? And just asking that question. Most of sales is asking questions. And I think just asking that and seeing where that conversation goes.
I agree, and thanks for sharing that, Nate. I think it's a fantastic time to reach out. I mean, I think others have already stated this, but to reach out to everyone in your database, check in on them, and if you're able to, ask them if there's anything they need, anything they need help with, and anything that you can do to provide some of that. We got to pull together, so it's just a great way to stay in touch and continue to build that relationship of trust.
Does anybody have anything to add to that? Jason, Nick, or anybody else have something?
I think, yeah, I would.
Ask questions.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jason. Sorry, Sherry, you're cutting out and it's really delayed. 2 seconds.
I would focus on the relationships more so than the lead gen or the doubling down on contacts. I would look at it. Don't double the number of contacts, double the effectiveness of the relationship. And so if you're focusing on them and you're focusing on the relationship, place a higher importance on building relationships with people and less importance on just the number of calls. If you're going to churn and burn this week or next week or in the next few weeks, you'll probably become a statistic in this business. And so right now, I would agree, give yourself some grace, give yourself some time, enjoy that you're being forced into having less to do. All of my kids' stuff is canceled. The dog training got canceled. Hockey, for heaven's sake. My hockey got canceled for tonight. I mean, wouldn't cancel hockey unless the entire team died before. So this is very unprecedented times. And I think that, allow yourself the space and the grace to build relationships with people and really focus on how you can help them. And you can't help them if you're a mess personally. So focus on yourself, get yourself into a good mindset. If you've got problems with your mindset or you're on the couch in the fetal position and you just, have a tough time getting through, then reach out to someone who's different from that, right? Like I've got a couple of friends that are just, they're crazy. And so, and they're funny, a couple of my friends they're the people I call when I'm having a bad day. If country music doesn't work, then I call my two friends that are they're funny and they make me laugh. And so, for those of you that don't like country music or don't have those friends, then call me, I'll make you laugh.
And someone said in the chat, I have reached out to my clients, especially the elder ones, and offered to be a resource and bring groceries, etc. Maybe clients know someone elderly or in quarantine that need help picking up items. It's just another opportunity to reach out. So thank you for sharing that. Any other questions regarding lead generation activities?
I have something to piggyback
Yeah.
off of what Nate and Jason were saying. And we were sort of talking about this before the call started, but for me, yes, still doing some lead generation, trying to come from contribution. It's more of a quality versus quantity with who you're talking to and the relationships you're building right now. This is a good opportunity to get everything else right with your business. I know for me, being a high D, all that I do every day is worry about lead gen, getting on the phone, closing sales. When in an up market, that's what I did. And, unfortunately for me, I put a lot of stuff off. There are some things with my finances that I need to get in order that I've been telling myself that I have to do for a couple of months, bills to pay. And just, I think it's a good opportunity right now to make sure everything else in our businesses are buttoned up, especially these next couple of weeks when there's so much uncertainty. If you're taking a break from lead gen, that doesn't mean that you can't work on your business.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys. Cherie, Matt, do you want to keep going with the questions?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. I think so. I just put it in the comments. My last question, and then Matt can take over. Is Jason touched on it. What are some strategies that people are using for mindset? Because I know that I am pretty rock solid in my mindset. It's one thing that I pride myself on keeping strong. But what are some strategies that you guys are using? Let's start with Nick. What are some strategies are you using for keeping your mindset in the right frame of mind, I guess?
For me, I wasn't around selling back in 2008, 2009, so I certainly can't speak from experience. But I just really feel with conviction that I'm in the right place. I'm with the right company. I have the right resources. I look at people like Jason Gorman, actually, who survived the last shift. I know that there's agents that not only survived but thrived during the last shift, which is totally different circumstances. So I guess I'm still figuring that out. Like I said, I've been licensed for almost 3.5 years, so this is something that's relatively new to me, but I know that I have to keep going. I have to keep going. I have to be in motion. Need to be working every day. You can't just curl up in the fetal position on the couch because things are scary right now. I don't know if that's a great answer, but it's something. I guess my mindset is changing a little bit every day too, with what's going on. If you asked me that 2 weeks ago, it sounds terrible to say this now, but my mindset was, sweet, everyone's freaking out. Let's go get some market share. And I do not think that's an effective strategy now. I think people need to, people need their space. People don't want to be sold right now. People just need to see where things land right now. There's a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's an awesome response. A wise man, not naming names, Sean Corby, said, always stay solution based, right? No matter what the issue is, try and focus on what the solution is and what the positive you can get out of any sort of situation. And I've pretty much taken that to heart and, a huge value in my business. Jason, how about you?
So I think, for me, prayer is a huge thing. I think that your faith, if you don't have a faith life, I think times like these become more difficult. You need to really prioritize your life. And sometimes challenging situations become a defining moment for most people, where you really find out what is important to you. Start each day with gratitude. I think that's an easy thing. We start our morning call as a team with what we're grateful for. And it could be something as simple as, today it could be as simple as just going to Caribou and having a cup of coffee, right? Because tomorrow or tonight at 5 o'clock, they're closed and you can't go inside. So So little things like that. You may just be grateful for being able to go to Caribou today. And tomorrow you may be grateful that you can go through the drive-thru. For me, coffee's right behind Jesus, if you haven't been able to see. So in that order. So I think, what are you grateful for? I kiddingly talk about country music, but really I do listen to both kinds. I listen to country and Western. So both of those musics make me happy. And then I think, you know, I would also focus on helping people. You know, when you can focus on helping people, you know, then I think then your day goes better when you focus on what you can do to help someone else. Whether it's a client, a past client, someone that you know on Facebook that you think is just maybe having a hard time. Sometimes, you know, maybe it's your team leader, you know, like we all look to people like our leaders, right? Like our team leaders or our people that are, they're there for us. Maybe you could just do something nice for them today, right? Maybe you could just, you can't give your team leader a hug today because of the coronavirus, but you could just send them a nice text, right? Just, I really appreciate you. I appreciate everything you're doing. Little things go a long ways. And so that's what I would do. And then when in doubt, or when you're just kind of in a tough spot and country music didn't work for you, TED.com, that's my favorite video. So I do go on to TED.com, watch lots of videos, YouTube, and then podcasts. If you haven't, you know, downloaded the podcast, Ed Milet. Ed Milet is awesome. Tony Robbins is awesome. I've got about 20 podcasts that I listen to pretty regularly. And all of those things are helpful when you just want to fix your mindset.
That's awesome. I love that. Gratitude goes a long way, and just thanking people for what they, you know, or being happy for having the clothes on your back, right? Nate, what do you have to add to that? And then I'll just hand it over to Mike or Matt and Heather.
You know, I think right now with mindset, I think, you know, focusing on trying to connect with people, either, you know, having coffee via FaceTime or a lunch or something right now is a good way to stay connected, as we're you know, we need to stay distant, but we also need to have that connection. So I think doing that is a great way. And then also having a good cry helps. I think, you know, right now, just getting that out and then just talking about this with folks who you're close to and about what's challenging, I think will help. But also having a routine, you know, I found being self-employed for the last, you know, 14 years, you got to have a routine. So just following that as you're doing this, and that those habits will help. Whether it's getting up in the morning, making coffee, walking the dog, you know, doing that and staying in a rhythm will help you kind of get through this and work through this. Plus, it will help you have habits for after we're done. This isn't going to be forever.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for sharing on all of your lead gen strategies. I'd like to get into a little bit of marketing. So Nate, while you're up, what forms of marketing do you use to lead generate?
Outside of, you know, we circle prospecting around our listings. So we do a Mojo dialer. We have an ISA that will circle prospect. If this was a normal time, we'd also door knock around there and do a mailer for our just listed and our just sold, and then call around there. We don't do a lot online. We've done a little bit of Facebook ads with Command, but, you know, I think we found that the best return on our investment has been with our Sphere and database, and kind of just building that. And so that's kind of the extent of what we do marketing wise.
Have you used any of the ad mailers in Command, like especially for your just listens and just solds?
Yep, we use real mailers in there.
Real mailers, yeah.
Yep.
And what has the return been like on that?
We got a number of calls off one of our listings that we had in the late fall was actually someone who I door knocked 3 times. And we also sold a few homes right around them. So they got our mailers for all of those. And so she reached out from there. I think it's about 59 cents a piece with real mailers. So it's pretty inexpensive with them. And so we do that when we list the house and then closes. And we do that with both our sellers and our buyers because we sold the house. So we might as well market to that neighborhood too.
What's like the mile radius that you're doing around those properties?
We do we just do 100 homes around it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Nick, what forms of marketing do you use to lead generate?
We actually do a lot of what Nate was talking about. We get a new listing, we door knock, typically, depending on the neighborhood, 50 to 100 houses. We'll leave flyers on or talk to the homeowners. I use Mojo Dialer as well, and I will circle prospect the immediate neighborhood. I try to call at least 100 to 200 homes, and then we also have an ISA from the Philippines. His name is Louis, and he's a phone animal. So he will call, we call it the donut. He calls the outside of the donut. I call the little donut hole. And he'll call the greater part of the city. And we're not only looking to drive traffic through our open house, but we're trying to have meaningful conversations with homeowners as well. So if we find out somebody's looking to buy or sell in the next year, the next couple of years, that's a lead, and that's somebody we can systematically follow up with. Being on a team and being a sales agent, I leverage my team. For a lot of our marketing, we have drip campaigns that we have people set up on. We just started implementing some of the social media systems from Command. So we will send out just listeds or just solds to certain zip codes. And I personally, this is more me than my team, but I try to stay as relevant as I can on social media. Every time at a closing, I post it on social media. If I see something funny while I'm on the job, I post it on social media, and I do what I can just to let, I guess, my personality, my sparkly personality shine through. And I think there's a nuance to doing that and marketing yourself. You don't want to seem braggadocious where you're saying, oh, look at how cool I am. Look at how, much business I do and everything. And you also don't want it to seem forced per se, where, you're saying things and you're acting in a way online that people who know you know that's not you. I think what people want to see if you're going to be active on social media is that you're out working every day and that you're good at your craft.
Absolutely. Jason, can you share what forms of marketing that you are using to lead generate?
Sure. We do mailings. We've done mailings every month for 28 years. So we do those in good times and in bad times. So we send out a postcard every other month. We send out a newsletter in between. The newsletter just has stats that we grabbed from St. Paul Association of Realtors. Also has a list of, we sold, 17 homes last month. So we get, these are the buyers we're working with. It's a pretty simple 2-page newsletter that doesn't take as much time. So we do those two things. We send out 4 emails per month, which we use a company called Outbound Engine, which we're in the process of getting rid of. Not because it doesn't work, but just email is just so ineffective that to spend money for it is just kind of senseless. So we intend to work that through Command. We've placed about $1,000 out of our budget. We use Commissions Inc. for our database currently. We are transitioning into Command. So we've taken about $1,000 out of our marketing budget for lead gen through Commissions Inc., which is Google AdWords and Facebook. And we've moved that over to Command already. And our goal is to shut down Sync within the next 60 to 90 days and then have all of our money. Right now, we run around $4,000 a month on Google AdWords and Facebook. And it's about an 80-20 percentage. So 80% Google AdWords, 20% Facebook. And our intention is to have that budget moved 100% over to Command, where we intend to generate at least twice as many leads for the same amount of money.
That's awesome. Is anybody using Keller Mortgage as a way to market for leads? Jason, are you?
No,
No.
my two mortgage guys are in my wedding, so I'm going to be an adopter, right? I'm a full KW guy. It was funny. Last week I actually was leaving KW according to social media. I got like 20 something text messages in the course of 2 days because apparently everyone thought I was going to EXP. And I don't know who spread the rumor, but it was funny because I'm a big KW guy. Like, I love this company, and I have not done anything with Keller Mortgage yet. But again, selfishly, it's because my two mortgage guys are like my very, very good friends that were in my wedding 20 years ago. So
Awesome. Nate, Nick, have you guys been lead generating with Keller Mortgage at all?
Truth
No.
be told, it's been on my to-do list for a while. I also have some mortgage relationships, which I think is sort of a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people transferring away from that. So short answer, no, I haven't been.
Awesome. A question via chat. Has anyone ever tried voicemail drops? I recently enrolled in it for my insurance business. You make one call and then send it as voicemail to a big list, then wait for calls back.
Is that like slide dial?
I'm wondering if it is. So with slide dial, I've used that. It drops a voicemail. It looks like you have a missed call, but then it drops a voicemail right into there. So I think it's pretty similar.
So I don't think this is necessarily exactly what Nick is asking about, but in Mojo, you can record pre-recorded voicemails, and you can drop those to people who are calling. If you get their voicemail, you can just click and it goes to the next call. And if you're circle prospecting around a open house or something, you don't want to say the address, the number of bedrooms, bathrooms, garage stalls, square feet, and all of that. You can just have a pre-recorded message, and just is a more economical use of time that way.
yeah, we use slide dial twice per year. So I do a message personally twice per year, once at Easter, once at Christmas. Luetta sends it out to our entire database, and I get hundreds of calls and text messages and, thanks so much for the message. And so don't tell anyone that we're doing it, because a lot of people do think that I am like literally calling people like crazy the day before. And you can't let the cat out of the bag, right? If you use slide dial and you're using it to call 300 or 400 people that really know you, like you, and trust you, you need to kind of go with it. You can't have it be like, hey, I just pounded auto dial out to 280 people today. So when they text you back and say something, you got to make sure that you're, that you go with it. So we do that. And then we also use it for events, just as a reminder. So whenever we do 4 events per year, and when we invite people or we want to send out a reminder, we don't use that as the way to invite, but we do use it as a way to just remind them that they've been invited and we haven't heard from them.
Awesome. Nate, do you have anything to add on that at all?
We don't, other than the Mojo voicemail that we can drop, that's about all we do for that.
Awesome. Well, we are just getting down to the last minutes here. So I'd love to end on one last question. Matt, do you have something you want to end on?
The only question I have would be for those that were in the last shift. I know Jason Gorman, you were, and anyone else can feel free to speak up, but what things did you do last time the shift occurred? Were there certain steps you took? How did you pivot? For example, myself, I went primarily to foreclosures and short sales, primarily listing short sales and learning about them because no one heard of those in 2006. So that was a way that I shifted and actually took advantage of that last shifted market. Sorry, Jason, do you have something you could share with what you might have done to pivot during the last shift?
Sure. Yeah, we did. We did short sales. I did my first short sale in 2004. By 2005, we had done, I think, 50 that year. In 2006, they just kept getting more and more. to the point where in 2007, I was taking referrals from agents in the office that, didn't want to deal with them and didn't think they needed to. So, I mean, so short sales and foreclosures, if you're not sure what a short sale is, find someone that is. Go to CDPE is a designation you can get, certified distressed property experts. I don't know if maybe they're not in business anymore. That used to be a big designation that you could get just to learn short sales and how do you work with them, loan modifications, forbearances. There's a lot to learn down that side, and I don't know that we're going to be in that type of a correction yet, and it wouldn't hurt for you to get ahead of it. I think that the shift that you should make today is in your mindset. So mindset, practice, time block, those three things are going to stay the same. That was true when I was in 1993. When I got into this business, it was important to have a rock solid mindset. It was important to practice and get better at your craft. And then it was important to block your time and work on what is important. Those three things will never change. So you need to have a good mindset. And right now, if you find yourself in a tough spot from a mindset standpoint, then work on fixing that. Then work on practicing, right? Get better at your scripts and dialogues. If you're not role playing, you don't have a role play partner, you don't know how to talk to people. What should I say? What do I say about the coronavirus? What's the market going to do? If you don't know that, well, then it would be great to find a person in the office that you could practice with today, right? And get better at it so that when you actually call a client tomorrow, it doesn't sound like you're stuttering and stammering through like, I don't know. And if you're sounding, concerned or questioning the market, then of course you don't be concerned. Then that is why they are concerned. So practice. So mindset, practice, and then block your time to work on what's important. So 5,000 realtors will more than likely leave the business in the next 6 to 12 months. Personally, I've been praying for a correction like this for a few years. So I don't think that this, even though none of us would have wanted this type of a, systemic type problem in our market with our health or anything like that. I think that, when you get, for those of us that have been doing it for a long time, you hear from clients all the time, well, it's such a great time to be a realtor. Oh, the market's so awesome. Like, well, when there's 10,000 additional realtors, each selling one house a year, that's 10,000 units that ordinarily would have went to the top 10% of the people in the business. So it's actually easier to find transactions when it gets difficult. If you're willing to work, you're going to get more than your fair share, right? So you will get your unfair share if you keep working and you keep focused. And so that would be my advice.
Awesome. Do you have anything else you want to share to end on that maybe we didn't cover today? I know there's so much we could talk about and we could keep going. Any last piece of information to share?
No, I just want to thanks for saying that, Jason. That's fantastic advice. And I want to thank everyone for being here today.
Yes, thank you guys so much for coming on, Nate. I hope you stay healthy. It sounds like you're on the right track coming back from Europe. So I'm happy to hear that. Thank you, Nick, Nate, Jason, Matt, and Cherie. Thank you guys all so much for being here. It's 12:30, so for anyone that has to go, if we don't have any other questions for these guys, we can let them go. And then I just wanted to give a couple other quick Market Center updates for anybody that wants to hang out for just a couple more minutes. Or if anybody else that's on the call has anything to share regarding lead generation, the shift, that have gone through this before, any advice, especially for some of our new agents that haven't gone through this. I think we're all ears right now. Awesome. Well, thanks again, you guys. So just really quick, let me just pull up some stuff here. First and foremost, we just want to let you guys know that our Market Center is still open, that our leadership is still here. So anything you guys need, any questions that you have, any concerns that you're having, please let us know. We're here for you, as is our ALC, and so many other agents in here to support you through this. I know it's probably getting a little scary, but we are going to come out the other end stronger than ever. Training. So as you guys have probably gotten the Monday email, we are moving all of our trainings to Zoom trainings. Some things have been canceled due to the lack of being able to do it via Zoom. For example, our CE classes that were scheduled for this Wednesday and next Wednesday are going to be postponed. Those dates are to be announced. We are currently planning to still have the required module at the Market Center. That could change as we continue to monitor the COVID-19, so keep an eye out for that. But there was an email link to register, so make sure to check that. What else do I have for you guys? Oh, and online training is going to be huge right now. As you guys may have seen on the Facebook post, I'll also send an email and a text out about this, but KW Connect is having amazing trainings happening right now around the shift. It's going to be happening, as far as I know, weekdays from 10 to 4, and they're just 20 minutes, and you can check out the, let me just pull it up, what all the topics are, and these are coming from some of the top leaders in our company sharing their insights. So definitely check that out. Tune in whenever you can, especially as we may be finding ourselves having a little bit more downtime than usual. So I will share that with you guys again as well.
Awesome.
Anything else, you guys? Matt, Mike, Andy, anybody have anything to share? Shannon? All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'm looking forward to being a hugging machine, hopefully in a few weeks. Have a good day, you guys.